just a shadow of a shell, my old home. Cry not for my loss. I am beauty in death's autumn clutch. Death has no worry for the dead. My world is dead, and my time is too. I with the fishes of my seas swam in my era now. I am just a neat relic of past life on ancient earth. My bones have melted away and become part of my stone shadow, a fossil. Dead, and my time is too. I with the fishes of my seas swam in my era now. I am just a neat relic of past life on ancient earth. My bones have melted away and become part of my stone shadow, a fossil.
The magician's the age of treason, his love is treason.
I'm lost in the sea of time. I am merely a memory of seas gone by. I am lost in time's wake. Long forgotten is my world and time. I am just a shadow of a shell, my old home. Cry not for my loss. I am beauty in death's ardent clutch. Death has no worry for the dead. My world is dead, and my time is too. I with the fishes of my seas swam in my era. Now I am just a neat relic of past life on ancient earth. My bones have melted away and become part of my stone shadow. A fossil sang the Emperor of the Universe on a stage somewhere in Melbourne City. He was singing of a fossil ammonite, but he himself was lost in time.
He was a time traveler living in the past, like the fossil in the song. So far back he was 1200 or so, he obviously wasn't human. He was of a near-immortal alien race called the Magicians, who could only die if hurt, but he was different. He had died many times only to return to life again. Unlike the rest of his race who died forever, he couldn't stay dead. His grim Reaper soul healed him and returned him to life. He was not the only Reaper, but he was the only one who died to return to life again. Likewise, he was the only magician to have the trait of returning to life, which was seen as living dead. He'd been deposed before when he was found out last time in another life as another man. His grandson. A complication of time travel, he became his own grandfather. Another was he was still married to his grandson's wife. It had been until now a good marriage, and they were happily married. This song marked the end of the happy marriage. This performance was the aggregate, the grit that formed the pearl of love that cleaved apart the happy couple of Fred the Emperor and his secret wife Angela, or Princess Anastasi, commonly called Anna. In the audience he spied her, the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. He was lost. She noticed. She liked him too. She knew that he was a famous man. She saw him at his work at the stage door at the theater. He was a noted stage magician who worked there. He forgot his wife and took her to lunch for a month. To the world, he was merely a widower who had lost his wife. She was very enchanted by this enchanter, and she wanted to be his wife one day. He thought of her alone. His living wife found him distracted, until one day...
Fred.
Blake, what is it?
I only wanted to know how you were. Don't bite off my head,
said the younger man.
I'm sorry for my rudeness.
Fred apologized and walked off to see the lady. Blake followed him. Fred seemed oblivious to him. All he could see was his love.
Who is she, Gramps?
You still here, Blake?
Yes.
Tourmaline Green.
Fred virtually sang. He knew Fred was in love with her. It did not make Blake happy, his older self forgetting their wife, who they both had worshipped. Blake dragged Fred away from Tourmaline, who looked sad to see him go. Fred was livid.
What do you think you are doing?
Said Fred furiously. Blake glared at Fred.
I am being a friend.
That is not the act of a friend.
That is not the act of a loving husband. And father, remember, Anna is pregnant with your child.
You always wanted to be her husband. You can have her.
Blake looked at Fred, knowing he was a traitor and a madman.
Is that what you think of her? A party favor you can pass on to another man? You do not deserve her.
You stupid brat. I am not passing her to a stranger. You are her husband.
So are you.
Why are you arguing?
Said Anna, walking into the room.
You know you are a talking point out there. Everyone can hear you.
Fred is giving you to me.
Giving me to you?
Said Anna, shocked.
He's found a gold digger to replace you.
How dare you? Tourmaline is not a gold digger.
Fred, how could you?
Anna said, crying.
I hope you are truly happy with Anna. I'd ask for a divorce, but Anna and I are not married.
He's truly the Lizard of Oz.
You know, you're calling yourself that.
I mean it.
Fred sighed, knowing he was getting nowhere arguing with them, so he left to be with Tourmaline. Fred danced with Tourmaline all night, full of the passion that love brings. He ignored a man who sat watching him curiously, pondering how to deal with him. It was not Blake in any form. It was a killer who knew Fred well enough to know his secret, that he could not die and remain so. He also knew the girl was merely a gold digger. The killer knew only he could fix things and only death could solve this, and it could cause a rift between him and Fred the size of the universe. The killer did not look forward to what he had to do. Fred took Tourmaline to her home and went inside for a coffee.
He sat waiting for her to get the coffee. As he sat on her couch, he heard her scream, and he ran into the kitchen. He saw his son, the serial killer, the necromancer, had just murdered her. Why did you have to do that, you psycho? Demanded the shocked, crying, heartbroken emperor.
I had to do it, said the son.
No, you didn't. We can bring her back to life, said the emperor, who was a necromancer also.
No, Dad, she's dead, said the son.
That doesn't matter. I brought back my dad from the dead, said Fred.
The killer walked up to his dad and hugged him. Granddad is a zombie, said the killer.
Fred's father wasn't a brain-eating zombie. He was a living dead meat puppet of a necromancer, not that he looked it. If you won't save her, I will, said the miserable, grieving, angry emperor.
No, Dad, said the killer, holding Fred back.
It's all right, Tourmaline. I saved you. We can still be together, said the Reaper, hugging her.
She returned to seeing the Reaper and her lover dead in the arms of her killer.
Fred's soul, a Reaper, left his body, walked to her, reached towards her, and spoke a dark incantation.
Don't, Dad, said the killer.
The girl screamed and tore away from him.
I won't hurt you, said the Reaper.
You're scaring her, said the killer.
I'm Fred, don't be scared, said the desperate Reaper.
Oh my God! No, Fred's dead. I don't want to live without Fred, said Tourmaline, stabbing herself, killing herself.
Oh, so she wasn't a gold digger, my bad, said the killer.
You, said the angry Reaper.
Take her soul, you're a Reaper, said the killer. I'll look after your body.
You are too, said the Reaper soul of Fred.
You can take her in, you can be with her till you hand her over, said the killer.
Thank you, boy, said the Reaper soul of Fred.
Fred's body was taken away by the killer for safekeeping, to return to life later, while the Reaper took his love's soul to the afterlife.
am just a shadow of a shell, my old home. Cry not for my loss. I am beauty in death's ardent clutch. Death has no worry for the dead. My world is dead, and my time is too. I with the fishes of my sea swam in my error. Now I just a neat relic of past life on ancient earth. My bones have melted away and become part of my stone shadow, a fossil. Fishes of my seas swam in my error. Now I am just a neat relic of past life on ancient earth. My bones have melted away and become part of my stone shadow, a fossil.
I'm lost in the sea of time. I am merely a memory of seas gone by. I am lost in time's wake. Long forgotten is my world and time. I am just a shadow of a shell, my old home. Cry not for my loss. I am beauty in death's ardent clutch. Death has no worry for the dead. My world is dead, and my time is too. I with the fishes of my seas swam in my era. Now I am just a neat relic of past life on ancient earth. My bones have melted away and become part of my stone shadow, a fossil.
Sang Tourmaline Green, a pretty young-looking ghost remembering her favorite memory in her lost life. A time not long before she was murdered by the son of the man who sang it when they first met. She thought he was dead too, but she had not met him on the other side. The singer was the love of her life. She dreamed of meeting him in Elysian, where she lived now as a mere ghost, but that was just a dream. Elsewhere, the man she loved sat alone on the imperial throne of the Emperor of the Universe, sadly dreaming of her.
He was the Emperor of the Universe. He missed her too. He was not dead. He was very much alive and was likely to stay so because of a trait Fred the Emperor felt now as a fault in his genes. He died only to return to life again. It was painful to him. He could never see Tourmaline again. He knew she still lived as a ghost in the one place he could never go. He was not immortal. He was living dead, a grim reaper. He had been their judge and king, now he was in hiding. And he knew reapers were meant to leave their loves and friends and families in the afterlife alone and not meet them again in death.
He was so sad and lonely he later in his sleep heard her sing his song. He walked towards her voice to find her singing.
As it was only a dream, he was not restrained. He embraced her and lifted her. He spun around with her. She had stopped singing when she saw him.
She was happy to see him too, she cried with joy.
He tried to kiss her tears away. They were never happier. They sat by a brook and listened to it, enjoying each other's company till dawn when he awoke in a sweat. He felt so happy to dream of her.
While in the other world, Tourmaline was happy to have spent the night with her love. She wondered if he would come back to her again. Fred hadn't realized he had really met her in his true spirit form, beyond the Reaper. When he realized he was truly meeting her, he drew back and felt conflicted that he was doing something wrong. But it felt so right, and he was less free and easy with her. It made her sad and fear she'd lose him.
Fred spoke the next day to an old friend for advice and help. "Daniel, I'm having a strange thing happening to me," Fred confided to his friend Daniel, the Sandman.
"What is it?" asked Daniel, who was a magician like Fred and Tourmaline.
"I'm meeting a lady in my dreams. She is in the afterlife. I took her there. I am a Reaper," Fred confessed.
"Does it scare you?" asked Daniel.
"Yes, I don't want to lose her, but I am appearing as a spirit form that looks like me, not my spirit form as a Reaper," said Fred.
"That's complicated. I'll have to look that up. You be careful not to get caught," said Daniel.
That night, Fred was surprised to see the Sandman in his dreams.
"How are you in the afterlife?" said Fred, seeing his friend the Sandman in the afterlife.
"I hijacked your dream," said Daniel.
"Why?" asked Fred.
"I had to see you," said Daniel.
"Okay, thank you," said Fred.
"I found out why you see her in your dreams," said Daniel.
"Why?" asked Fred.
She is, stammered Daniel, seeing her walking up to them.
"Who is she?" asked Fred.
"Your wife," Daniel said.
"Who?" asked Fred.
"Hesperus, your second wife," said Daniel, recognizing him.
You.
"No, she's Tourmaline Green."
"Have you forgotten your own wife, my emperor? She is her soul."
"How could that be? She died a month ago. My wife died 30 years ago."
"She was reincarnated, it seems."
Again? Do what again?
His first wife, Angela, was reincarnated too.
"You know me. You know who I really am."
"I am the king of dreams. I know you better than you know yourself."
First wife? I thought he was married once. Who is he, Bluebeard?
"It's complicated." He was born as his grandson, Blake. Then he was trapped in the past with amnesia to become the emperor of the universe.
Fred stood puzzled, not sure what to do or say after that reminder of who he was. Fred had thought of himself as Fred to keep himself sane. This confused him.
Blake? Aren't you the Grand Reaper, the king of the Grim Reapers?
"Yes?"
You were that weird Grim Reaper who brought me back to life when I was murdered by your son.
Yes.
Who are you married to if you have two wives?
He's married to Angela, they were never divorced, and you are dead.
Tourmaline looked at Fred, who looked awkward.
See you in another life when you aren't married.
Tourmaline stormed off.
You won't come back here again. I spoke to your son, the timekeeper. He said you won't return here, so we had to end things here with a little reality.
"How did she reincarnate? And how can I be here?"
Apparently it's natural and sometimes happens that a soul reincarnates, and you are astral traveling in this reoccurring dream. It's not meant to happen to you. This is a faulty dream. You are meant to be dreaming of her, not meeting her.
"Oh."
Come with me, I have to lock off this place without us being here.
Daniel opened a bright dream portal which they walked into and were gone.
I am lost in the sea of time. I am merely a memory of seas gone by. I am lost in time's wake. Long forgotten is my world and time. I am just a shadow of a shell, my old home. Cry not for my loss. I am beauty in death, thought in clutch. Death has no worry for the dead. My world is dead, and my time is too. I with the fishes of my seas swim in my era now. I am just a neat relic of past life on ancient earth. My bones have melted away and become stone shadow, a fossil. My world is dead, and my time is too high with the fishes of my seas. Swim in my air and now I am just a neat relic of past life on ancient earth. My bones have melted away and become part of my stone shadow, a fossil.